out of the cars earlier. In fact, that may be a problem at the end of the race. Now, Bobby Archer is closing up because his car didn't handle well on a full fuel load. Now they think they can chase down Baldwin. Gary?
So some interesting wrinkles as we lead toward the final laps of the competition at Mid-Ohio. It is still Greg Pickett in Trans Am racing, the next to the last event of this season. Greg Pickett continues to hold the lead. We saw him flash by. Here's Tommy Archer, closely followed now by Paul Gentilozzi. The race for second place between those two. Scott Sharp, the mustard color number 33, has dropped back just a little bit, still racing in the 4th position. Baldwin, his teammate, the championship point leader, is in 5th. But we hear there's talk of fuel concerns. And remember all that fuel we saw slashed early in the race? Let's check in with Jan Beekes in the pits.
Well, Gary, on both the case of Jack Baldwin and Scott Sharp, they have 2 people in the pits, 1 each, ready to fuel the cars. They're suited up. They think that if they have a fuel problem, they can come in, that is, and do a quick splash and go. So this race is not over yet. Gary?
Now, if they both have to come in, Derek, and fuel, it's not any great impact on the championship. But if just one of them has to come in, it could mean a championship.
Well, it's interesting. Early in the race, we didn't see Greg Pickett's Chevrolet Camaro throw fuel out, but Baldwin's definitely did. I suggest a redesign, particularly if they run out of fuel. Well, look at this traffic jam here.
Baldwin in 25 is now being held up a bit as he has no opportunity to get back up there close to his teammate Sharp, and he also has to contend with Bobby Archer, who's right off the backside in the next position.
So often we've seen all the, oh, look at this, the Archer car locks up those front brakes. He's now still trying very hard to get by Jack Baldwin, but so much can happen in the closing laps of these Trans Am races. And a change of just 1 position between the 2 contenders, Sharp or Baldwin, can mean a differential of 2 or 3 or possibly 4 points. It was a 9-point differential coming into the race. We keep mentioning that as this season winds down. We've got a pretty good race going for 4th place or 5th place, and we've got one going for 2nd place. We'll try to keep an eye on both. And Baldwin knows he's not going to catch Scott Sharp, so forget that. So his main concern is he has to stay ahead of Bobby Archer.
This is the battle for 2nd. Tommy Archer in number 3 on the left of the screen, and right there is Paul Gentilozzi. Archer's been a strong man today, but he is now running 5.5 seconds behind Pickett. Pickett has been the dominant force once he made that move to get back into the lead after relinquishing it at the start of the race to Baldwin. Baldwin slipped steadily back. Baldwin currently running in the 5th spot. Right now it's Pickett by 5.5 seconds. And look at a little sliding there. The rear end loose that time for Tommy Archer.
Exactly, using up those rear tires. Now under braking and all through these switchback corners, Paul Gentilozzi seems to be very good. And I thought he could make a realistic challenge against Tommy Archer earlier, but Archer just seems to have enough to keep ahead.
This is Jim Durhog, a man who is the all-time leader in Trans Am races driven. This is his 133rd career event, coasting to a stop, and it looks like he's coasting to a stop right in the middle of the race line. Or is he totally off the circuit somewhere? He was off in a chicane, apparently the old keyhole area, so he is not a factor on the circuit. There you can see this is the old configuration, what they called the keyhole. They no longer run that configuration. In fact, Trans Am for the first time this year now with a straightaway up through the old keyhole, and so that car not in any problem for the rest of the field.
Back with Gentilozzi. This is his favorite spot, but look, he's about 6 car lengths behind Tommy Archer. You cannot make a passing attempt from that far behind.
Well, we continue to watch and see if anybody can close up. Here is Greg Pickett. Pickett is going to be coming out of the carousel and up the front straightaway, and I believe he's going to be looking at a white flag, which will indicate 1 lap, 2.25 miles to go. That'll be coming up here in just a few moments. He's still on the backside of the circuit. What a great day this has been for Pickett, who's been strong so many times this year, but he hasn't won. Again, we mentioned the last time, Detroit, 1989, but he was strong at Belle Isle in Detroit this year when he had his best finish of this season. That was a 2nd place effort.
I heard him interviewed earlier, and he actually sounded a bit surprised that when he got you see the white flag there, when he got this new chassis, he was actually surprised that suddenly he ran so much better, and now he was surprised himself by actually being able to take the pole position speed.
Tommy Archer in the red Dodge holds on to 2nd, chased by Gentilozzi, who is 3rd. No change in the order. Sharp continues to run in the number 4 spot. Baldwin is 5th, and Bobby Archer putting pressure on Baldwin. It's very important for Jack Baldwin's championship hopes to hang on to this spot and not lose another position.
And it's down the end of this long straight that Jack Baldwin has been most vulnerable. Now, Bobby Archer will know that, and I would guesstimate if Bobby Archer makes a run, I think Baldwin may come up with some defensive driving here and move down to the middle of the road.
Well, this will be the last opportunity because we are on the final lap, and this is a race for 4th place. Baldwin, or actually 5th place, I'm sorry. Baldwin occupies 5th. Bobby Archer wants it, takes a look, gets right up there under the spoiler, can't do it. Now we go back and check on our leader.
At the end of the straight, Baldwin did leave the door open, but Bobby Archer was not close enough to make a run down the inside to take that position away from him.
Greg Pickett, the all-time leader and top 5 finishes in Trans Am competition. 51 times he's done it. 14 times he's taken the checkered flag as a winner. He did it on this circuit 6 years ago. He's about to repeat as he comes up the hill. The checkered is out, and Greg Pickett has the win at Mid-Ohio. Now let's watch the rest of the field come through. We saw Archer get through to finish 2nd. Janalozzi through traffic to finish 3rd. Now we find Sharp coming through 4th. Baldwin is 5th. Bobby Archer is 6th. Pickett's wife enjoying the moment down along Pit Road on a great autumn day in central Ohio, and acknowledging the cheers of what's been a terrific crowd to hang on and watch this one here today is Greg Pickett.
Well, the interesting thing now, of course, is the points battle, because that was the main thing that was on Jack Baldwin's mind when he knew Scott Sharp was past him. The defensive mode had to come on, and luckily in the Hot Wheels Camaro here, he still has time to wave to the crowd there, but luckily he was able to hang on to that position and not lose another one to Bobby Archer.
Well, thumbs up all the way around. Greg Pickett, who's been involved in Trans Am racing for a lot of years. Remember, he won a championship back in the 70s in 1978. Gets the job done here today, and he enjoys this moment as he comes on around the circuit with a full complement of Trans Am cars right behind. We'll hear from the conquering hero in just a few moments. The grin says it all as Greg Pickett now begins to unbuckle the helmet and pull it clear, and Jan Beekes, of course, is standing by down there. And when Greg clears the cockpit, we'll have an opportunity to hear from a man who today has picked up his 15th career victory in Trans Am competition. You know, he has to be really enjoying this particular moment. Handshakes around, the belts are off. He'll be coming out of there. We need to clarify. You see the young lady leaning in there, I believe. That is Pickett's daughter, Kim. We identified earlier as his wife. That's his daughter, Kim, who enjoyed the moment. So we're happy to be able to clarify that situation. She's congratulated her dad. And now let's get down, and Jan Beekes will step in there and get a word from the man who has been able to do such a terrific job today and win this one by roughly 5.5 seconds. Jan?
Well, you told me before the race, all your competitors said, no way can he run at the front with those soft tires. You had confidence. You said, hey, no problem, and you pulled it off.
Hey, I told you, no problem, you know. No, we were really careful with him, and I was able to do a pace that I was very comfortable with. I didn't have to slide around the car a lot, and I think that it proved right. I mean, you know, if you got to be hooked up to do it, but I'm so happy. I'm happy for Chevrolet. I'm happy for us. I'm happy for David King and all the guys. We've worked so hard. It's been a long uphill deal. You know, I mean,